Hello, everyone. Can you hear us? This is usually where everything fucks up, that someone cannot be heard. Hey,
Hello.
just waiting for acknowledgement from the chat, and then we will get right into this. So if you don't
We've
acknowledge
got a
us,
couple of highs and hays. Ooh, yep, yeah.
yeah. Whoop. Yep. Yep. Trogs has confirmed you can hear us both. Excellent. Okay. So I am Zero. This is my Twitch stream. Zero does stuff, and Zero does stuff, including talking with other people. Yay! No, it's not Debbie Does Dallas or anything like that. I'm sorry. It just sounds that way sometimes. And my guest today is the lovely, wonderful keeper David from the podcast Trials of the Apocalypse. Yay! Okay. So, David, who the fuck are you?
I'm David. Who the fuck am I? Well, relevant to this, I'm the host of a little podcast called Trials of the Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show where we play one-shot games in different Powered by the Apocalypse systems. And that involves like character creation, setting design, and then, playing the game, telling a story. We do a little bit of music and sound effects to make it a little bit more immersive. And I am the primary keeper. Currently, no one else has run something for the show, but that might not always be the case. And I also am the editor and like sort of producer for it. So yeah, I do a lot of that, and I'm really excited to be here and talk about all sorts of stuff.
I'm really excited to have you here too. So, it sounds like you're a much better version of me as editor and keeper and sound effects maker of a podcast,
Ooh,
right? Oh, that's not
I
hard,
hesitate to
man.
say that.
Oh, man, I'm so bad. I'm just like, get out all the sounds that are bad, tidy it all up, and get annoyed with Sean, laugh my ass off at what people have said, and that's it. No sound effects, no background music. No, it's too much work. Too much
Oh, it definitely is too much work.
work.
But I don't know. I think what has kept me doing it is like one bit of feedback very early on when we started doing it was just like one person who was like, "Oh yeah, I think it sounds better now," and I was like, "It sounds better," and I've just like done it ever since.
That is a really
the,
good compliment, though, isn't it? That
the
someone
slightest bit of
noticed.
validation.
Someone noticed the hard effort that you've put into it, right?
And when somebody notices like that, it goes straight to your head, and then from then on, you're chasing that next little high of somebody being like, "Oh yeah, I really liked how that sounded." You're like, "Did you? Did you now? All right."
do, do, do you have a Tota mug? Did I just see that? Or was that?
Oh no,
No?
this is
It just kind of
no,
looked
this is
like
just the
it.
mug I keep on my desk. I a fun fact about me. I studied Chinese as one of my undergraduate majors, and I studied abroad in both Hong Kong and Taiwan for a while. And while I was in Taiwan, I went to a language program that's the International Chinese Language Program. And this is the mug that I don't think I was actually supposed to keep it from there. So, International Chinese Language Program at the University of Taipei. If you're on this stream right now, I'm sorry, but I am keeping the mug. It's my favorite mug.
Fair enough, fair enough. I was thinking I should put water in my mug so then I could,
Hmm.
but I didn't.
Yeah,
I got it in my glass
you
instead.
have see you're over here saying that I was doing more, but you actually have like merch, like in good looking merch too. God, it looks so good, and
Close
we
up, it
have
doesn't
nothing.
look quite
We
look
should do
as
that
good,
something.
but it needs a higher resolution image. But it looks good on the t-shirts and the notebooks and everything like that. But anything smaller, not as good. Our stuff. But yeah. So what should we talk about? Oh, we've got lots of first-time chatters coming in, and they have
Whoa.
interesting names that I will probably fuck up, like Petithicusrix.
Oh, that's Pat. He's on our show. He's also my brother. But his handle is often Petithicus Rex.
Petithicus. That
Uh,
makes more sense.
Petithicus.
Petithicus.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've also got, oh, I can't read that color. Moral Dilemma 368.
Oh, and that's Emma, who's also on our show, and I'm also married to, so special guest.
Extra special guest. Yes, we love the spouses and partners of keepers, especially. and other podcasters because they put up a lot, don't up with a lot, don't they?
Hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, just earlier today, I was bailing on hanging out downstairs to do some editing. So
Yeah. So should we get down to it? I think we should start with the main thing here. What is powered by the apocalypse? What can you tell the viewers?
yeah. Oh, I don't know if I'd consider myself an expert even at this point. I have at this point played a good variety of Powered by the Apocalypse games, so I can kind of talk about the general points. Powered by the Apocalypse is just a catch-all term for a group of games that all bear inspiration or take inspiration from Apocalypse World, which is a fabulous tabletop role-playing game written by Vincent and Megan Baker. And when they wrote it, they gave explicit permission for people to take inspiration from it and take like lift entire elements from it, credit being given. But otherwise, people were free to build on that platform and make other things. And lots of people took them up on that because Apocalypse World is a wonderful, wonderful game. It's the first one we played on our show, and there's lots of hallmarks of the system in general, but there's not like a definite design philosophy that is carried through all Powered by the Apocalypse games because it's not so much an official thing as it is just sort of declaring that you associate yourself with it. According to Vincent Baker, like if you say that you are powered by the apocalypse, if you claim inspiration to Apocalypse World, then you are, and that's like that is the litmus. So, so as a result, there's a lot of variety underneath
Mm-hmm.
that umbrella. And when we were setting out to make our own show back in summer of 2020, I
Mm-hmm.
guess,
Mm-hmm.
is when we started planning and stuff. We were deciding on a few different angles for the show, but we wanted to do something that was iterative, that was very like sort of one shot oriented because I was just starting off as an editor at all, and I wanted plenty of time to like get better. And the problem with doing that with like a long form is that now you have to send people back to listen to the old episodes that you're ashamed of and be like, go, you have to, in order to understand what we're doing now, you have to listen to the other stuff. And I didn't want to have to do that. So instead, I was going to like, we're just going to be super iterative. Every new arc is going to be independent. It's going to be great. And we settled on Powered by the Apocalypse because most of the games that, like the new games that I wanted to play that I hadn't gotten a chance to run before, most of them were Apocalypse-based, Apocalypse Engine games.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just kind of, I wanted to have some sort of bent so that we had like some direction for the show, and that's kind of where we ended up. And yeah, kind of the core hallmark I would say of Apocalypse Powered by the Apocalypse games is there's a principle established by Apocalypse World of play to find out, which is just this idea that you don't know what's going to happen next. Even the runner of the game doesn't necessarily know what's going to happen next, and you play the game in order to develop the story, and that is a collaborative thing between both the MC, the Master of Ceremonies, and the players at the table as well. The game is a conversation, and it's very emergent in its development. And I think that that's kind of at the nugget at the middle that any game that takes inspiration from it usually takes. And then the most common thing that lots of games take is the 2d6 resolution system, where you roll two little, your classic. I've got several at my desk. Your classic little cube dice.
Mm-hmm.
You roll two of those bad boys, and then you average or you take the sum, and then you add any modifier you might have to the roll, and that's how you establish, winning conditions or not. If you're, 6 or below, that's a miss. A 7 to 9 is a mixed success, and then a 10 plus is a full success. And that being applied to narrative situations is really like the core driver of gameplay. That's not a guarantee for Powered by the Apocalypse games. Undying, which is the second game we played on our show, it's about vampires. It has no dice. There's no dice whatsoever you ever roll in that game. It completely resolves itself through these like cool betting mechanics of like you have this blood resource because you're vampires, and you bet them for certain situations, and so that works in that way. But most Powered by the Apocalypse games use 2d6 to resolve things, or some go down the path of like doing a dice pool or something. But most align in that same sort of common bracket.
Mm. Yeah, and I love that about the 2d6 way of approaching things, and that there is the chance that there is quite a lot of chance to succeed, but it's the do you succeed outright? Do you succeed epically, or do you succeed? But there's some little consequences here. There's a
Yeah,
downside to this. That's what I love. The flavor, the added flavor,
yeah.
and you've got in there. Yeah.
The mixed success is the most powerful idea in a tabletop role playing game because it lets you have your cake, but
The keeper
uh,
also gets a cake too.
yes, exactly. Yeah, so
Well,
I love that's my bread and butter. Those
yeah,
mixed successes.
yeah. We've already got a question here from the audience. O Creative One, also known as Maya, is there a favorite PBTA game you've played, David? Pick your favorite child.
Oh, see, that should be a hard thing, but I hope I won't be this way if I ever become a parent. But I can absolutely pick my favorite child here. I love Brindlewood Bay.
Uh,
Brindlewood Bay is a tabletop role-playing game made by Jason Cordova, published by The Gauntlet. And it is a game where you play as little old grannies solving a murder mystery. And its mystery mechanic is completely like the solution is completely improvised. It's all procedural, so there is no defined answer to the mystery until you get to the end, and then you, as the players, theorize what all your clues mean. Uh, and it's just my favorite game. I could play Brindlewood Bay. I could run it anytime anytime anyone wants. I would do it because I love that game so much, and it is my favorite child. And I'm not even like it's my favorite adoptive child. I took it into my house and put it under my wing, and I play it all the time.
Now, you just said if anyone wants to play it, you'll run it. So I think I have to ask you now to come back again sometime on the stream and run a one shot of Brindlewood Bay.
I would love to.
Yay! You hear that, Maya? I've got him again. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Any other questions from the chat? Anyone? Just throw them all in and we'll get to them whenever we see them. I think there was
Oh no,
one. Maya said
Emma has an
something.
evil question.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, moral dilemma 363. It's Emma. It's my wife. You're already a parent to 5 animals. Who's your favorite fur baby? First, rude. Well, am I the kind of person that can pick my favorite of the? No, I can't. They're all different and wonderful and excellent in their own ways. Although, bonus points to our cat Persephone today because she did catch and kill a mouse, so that was good. She's doing her job as a cat.
Mine brought home
But
a bird yesterday.
oh,
Dead
that's
one,
less desirable.
unfortunately. But yeah, he hasn't done that in a while, so I guess the rain kind of obscured his sound, so the bird didn't have a chance. But the night before, he brought home a live slug, but that was accidental. I think it was attached to his face because I followed the
Oh,
slug trail, and it looks like it had fallen off at one of the spots where he usually rubs his face against. So I'm like, oh, that must have hitched right. So that one was live and got to be returned to the wild. So he was oblivious. Okay, but I think Maya also said something else. Something she wants to know, being that she's started with Monster of the Week, what would be a good PBTA to play next?
that is a fun question. Well, it depends on what you like about Monster of the Week. I think one of the biggest strengths of Monster of the Week is it is one of the more flexible Powered by the Apocalypse systems as far as the kinds of stories you can tell with it. Because a lot of PBTA games, although Apocalypse World is also, I would put in that category where it really supports a broad range of stories. But Monster of the Week, as long as you have some sort of regular cyclical monster-based phenomena or vaguely monsterish phenomena, and people who go and try to stop that, then it fits. And like the clearest example of this kind of it shouldn't work, but it does. Was when we played Monster of the Week on our show, we lifted the apparatus, which is usually designed for sort of like small town or big city monster hunting, fringe society. We just like took it and put it in space. And we were on space and we were doing Monster of the Week things, and it shouldn't have worked, but it absolutely did. And that's like it's less a testament to our skill as players and much more a testament to Monster of the Week as a very flexible system. So if you like that flexibility, Maya, then what other? I mean, I would say Apocalypse World is a great follow-up. I haven't played Burned Over, which is essentially the second edition of Apocalypse World, or I guess there is a second edition of Apocalypse World, and then there's also Burned Over. It's complicated, but I hear that that Burned Over is even better than Apocalypse World, but I haven't played it for myself yet. But yeah, I would suggest it if you want something that's equally flexible. If you want something that is in the similar vein to Monster of the Week, then I recommend The Between, which is a monster hunting game, also by Jason Cordova. He actually, while he was working on The Between, he was like struggling to figure out some of the mystery mechanics for that game. And so then he, in order to figure that out, wrote Brindlewood Bay, and then just took that and made a few edits to it, and then plopped it into The Between as one of its central mechanics. And it's a fabulous Monster Hunter game. By default, you're in a setting of Victorian London, and it's very gritty. There is a lot of it's like monster hunting and fucking a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. It's that sort of thing. It's got that aspect to it. It's very inspired by Penny Dreadful, if you're familiar with the show, but they did just release a new setting for it that's called Ghosts of El Paso, which then lifts it from Victorian London to a Western setting. And this is a spoiler, but it is confirmed now, thanks to our patrons. We will be playing that next on our show. So after we finish Pigsmoke, we are going to be playing The Between El Paso. So look forward to cowboy shenanigans.
Excellent. And also, I think someone else had said something about your
Chat's
Patreon.
moving.
They wanted to know when your longest patron was going to be able to play a game.
More shoddy, that has to be you.
Yeah, it was. It was. You don't have to answer that.
We should talk about it. Hit me up in the Cast Junkie Discord. We'll talk about it more, shoddy. I feel like Pat somewhere is like, we should do it right now. I'm sure he's once he hears this in the chat.
So Dark Jaguar, whose birthday it is today, happy birthday, Dark Jaguar! Yay!
Happy birthday.
Wants to know which PBTA would you say is close enough to a Monster of the Week, but can be easily set in a city? Oh, yes. Have you answered that, or I mean, what else?
I would say Monster of the Week can pretty easily be set in a city. Yeah, you can pick that up and plop that game anywhere. It'll work as long as you meet the conditions of monster hunters and monsters. Monster of the Week will work for you. You might have to be inventive with how you interpret some things. Like in our case, we were lifting a game that has a strong magical bent and putting it in space, and so like for us it was like magic or technology, right? But like you can if you're happy making those sorts of amendments, then it's a very flexible system.
I mean, you don't even have to play it in the present. You could go right back to early past. You've proved that by having it in space, but we don't know if that's in the future. Really, I mean, there could be.
This could be a galaxy far, far away situation. Yeah. Who knows? Although, admittedly, I say that, but Nova is half Canadian, so whenever it is set, Canada does exist.
Yeah, I see Canada surviving most things, don't you? I mean,
yeah, no, fair.
What the hell conversation did we just walk into in the chat? Is it a book we can sniff? What was the conversation that prompted that?
Well, I think it's in our Monster of the Week setup. I don't remember now how it started. But there was lots of sniffing of the Monster of the Week book. I think we were talking about, like, I was describing how I liked it, how it was, it's pretty well laid out. It's a nice book. And then somebody was like, does it smell good? And then, like, it resulted in everyone smelling the book. Okay. And it turns out it does. It does smell pretty good. Go and sniff your Monster of the Week book. Smells great.
Let me find out now.
Here, I'll join you.
But mine's been sitting in a bamboo box, so it might smell a bit different. I mean, it smells like... Whoop, that's not the right one. That's the Tome of Monsters. This is the one we want. It might have a different smell.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't smell anything on that one.
You have to crack it open?
Yeah, I cracked it open. There's a little bit of light printing smell. Actually, I'm not a real fan of the way print books smell because,
Mm.
allergies and stuff. But this
Oh
one
yeah,
actually
sure.
doesn't smell anything like, well, those ones that tickle my nostrils kind of thing. It's a kind of a very mild print smell. But probably because it's different paper to what most print books, mass market print
Yeah,
books are printed on.
yeah. It's got like the paper's one of those like more. It's almost slick. It doesn't. It's not quite as fibrous. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I'm
totally
not a
get
paper
what you
maker.
mean. No, I know what you mean. I mean you mean it's more of the kind of print on demand type look, but you know, not. It's kind of one step up because some of them can be quite cheap. I say knowing nothing about that. Right, so have you already talked about how the podcast started? How did you find these people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mentioned a little bit about like kind of when we started, but I haven't really talked about how we did. So I had been running a couple of regular D&D games for a while. And there was one in particular, we had just finished an arc of it that was like it brought in and integrated a bunch of stuff from characters' backstories. It was kind of like the culminating bit after, months of play, and it went fantastically. The players were excellent. I thought the setting worked out very well. It was just incredibly fun. And we got to the end of the night, and we were all like sort of like jazzed after like that good after session energy. And then everybody left, and I was just standing there, and I was like, huh. And now it's like it's gone.
Mm.
It
Never.
was there, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
Uh, and after that moment, I was like, huh. I wish that I could hold on to this in some way. I wish that I could like keep this for later review and like to remember this moment a little bit better. So that was kind of like the first like back of my head sort of like maybe we should make a show. Uh, but then the other thing was I started listening to the Adventure Zone,
Uh-huh.
a big entrance for a lot of people into this sphere.
Yeah.
Um, and after I'd finished their whole first arc playing D&D, I was like, huh, I think I could do this. Not like in the same way, obviously not with the same people. Like the McElroys have their own dynamic, but I feel like I could do this. Like I feel like I've done this in the past. Like in some of the games that I've run, I feel like I could hit that level of engagement. And so seeing it done and then having this experience of kind of wanting to hold on to the stuff myself, I was like, okay, maybe it's time that maybe I can do this. Maybe I can figure out how to do this and we can start this. As I mentioned, I was a complete novice with editing when I started. So that's if anyone listens to our early games and you're like, wow, this is like some of the audio, like some of the leveling and some of the compressing is like not great. And it's like, no, it sure isn't. It is listenable, which was my skill level at the time. But we've gotten pretty good now. Um, but I think the other thing I would just add to that is like we came up with like actually starting the show and wanting to play it, and I knew that I couldn't do it with D&D because while I like playing the game, I think that for audio, like for an audio medium, the pacing is kind of rough at times, and I think that you have to like be listening to it to really enjoy you have to love the game
Mm.
and not so much necessarily the story. And so I wanted to do things that were a little bit more story forward. I'd just come off of playing a few one shots with Fate, which I love. We almost were a Fate podcast with Fate Core because
Oh,
Fate
okay.
is beautiful. I love that system. But we decided on PBTA because of other stuff that we wanted to play. But yeah, I don't know. Does that sort of answer it? That's kind of like where we
Yeah.
started. And then it was like 6 months of me learning how to edit and like making bad content until we finally popped out our first arc, and then the rest is history.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have covered quite a few already. And it looks like the audience seems to really like your Monster of the Week arc. I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
it's a good one.
librarians
It
in
was a lot of fun.
space. And that cake knife, man.
Oh,
Brilliant.
lots of love to Zach for being one of the best slash worst people I know. Uh, because the cake knife came about from a different. This was actually that second D&D ongoing D&D game. He wanted a magical item. He didn't know what he wanted, and then like at 2 a.m. one night, I just get a text out of nowhere saying, "I want a knife that when I cut through things, it turns them into cake." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like in the D, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right,
Not in real life. I
sure."
mean, that would be handy in real life too, but
I mean, like if you want that in real life, like I'm sure somebody could fix that for you, um, but yeah, he just texted me out of the blue, so I added it to the game, and I can't add a crazy item like that and not make it absolutely central to the story. So then I did that, and because of that, it lives in Zach's mind, I think, rent free. And so when he saw the option of having a magical dagger in Monster of the Week, of course his mind immediately went to, and when you cut through things, it turns them into cake.
oh, it's
Um,
brilliant. Yeah, because I also had him on for a Monster of the Week one shot where we took them their existing characters on other podcasts and brought them in for one shot. And I haven't gotten around to editing that either. But I gotta say, I said you can bring your cake knife. I'm totally fine with that, and he uses it a lot. Probably to
oh, I'm
make
sure
up
he
for the
does.
lack of
Yeah,
use in the arc. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, we had some fun with that. But this is the thing. I think you said earlier in the discussion the great thing about Powered by the Apocalypse is how it's play to find out.
Yeah.
When I started playing Monster of the Week and started running it, I realized that this is actually kind of how I run D&D. So
Mm.
apparently, I wasn't running D&D the way other people run D&D. I was like
Yeah.
more like, don't just turn up, do whatever the fuck you want, and we have skipping contests in the middle of them trying to stealth around a map, because why the fuck not? That's what they wanted, so I let them have it. Yeah. So yeah, but there's
I
no
mean,
reason to stop people playing D&D like that. So
yeah.
I think any Powered by the Apocalypse game, playing that, you can then apply what you've learned back into Dungeons and Dragons as well. Is there anything else you've learned from Powered by the Apocalypse that you've now taken to other tabletop games, or as a player, or
Oh,
as a person running it?
definitely. So I mentioned Fate earlier, so I'm going to start off of non-PBTA, but in Fate Core, there's this concept of aspects, and specifically situational aspects, which an example of that would be, let's say you're at a restaurant or at a McDonald's,
Okay.
and the floor is wet because somebody was mopping it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I might add to the list of situational aspects wet floor. And now, if you take actions that you invoke that in some way, you're like, okay, well, like I'm trying to trip this guy. I'm gonna like lead him over to the wet floor sign, and then I'm gonna like try to trip him there. So I'm like, okay, so you're gonna invoke that situational aspect to give you an advantage on this, and like you have a better shot of getting it done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like conversely, if like you're trying to like run away from someone, and we already established that there's a situational aspect of a wet floor, suddenly that's going to be a lot harder for you because I can invoke that against you as well, right? So situational aspects from Fate is something that like I think about in pretty much all TTRPGs I run, even if it doesn't have a mechanical impact. That idea of like there are these things that are sort of floating in the scene that could be used at any moment, either for someone or against them. That concept is definitely something that I've lifted and used in D&D before. It's something I've used in PBTA games before. So I love that aspect. I love I love that aspect of aspects in Fate. But in Powered by the Apocalypse, I think the mystery mechanic for Brindlewood Bay could easily be lifted and put into other games where you're running a mystery. Just the idea of like collecting clues and then being able to, use those blah, 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 blah. Use those clues to boost a roll to establish what the result is. I love that mechanic in Brindlewood Bay. I think that can be used in lots of games. Just the idea of a mixed success as opposed to like D&D is very pass fail by default.
Mm-hmm.
So applying that concept as well. Yeah, I think that's probably the one that I use the most from PBTA in general. More shoddy in the chat. It's already confusing. This is why I play PBTA. No, Fate is good, I promise. I promise it's fun. Um, we played a game where a cat was elected mayor of Hell, Michigan. Like, I swear, Fate is a fun game. You can do weird and crazy stuff in it.
But that happens in real life too, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
lots of
No,
animals
yeah.
getting elected mayor. I was even thinking about that today for my own local city because those elections are coming up, and I was like, well, I wonder if there's any rules in place to stop a cat from being elected mayor. But yeah, I was like, I'm not going to investigate that. That is not worth my time.
I mean, one thing you can guarantee if you elect in a cat mayor is that there will be very few rodents in City Hall. So a good start, I would say.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, having played a few Powered by the Apocalypse games now, do you have any ideas yet percolating in your mind on creating your own Powered by the Apocalypse
Oh,
game?
I have a really sad story to start here, actually.
Oh,
I started working on one that was Scooby Doo inspired. It was going to be called Quandary Club, just to avoid, Hanna-Barbera coming after us.
mm-hmm.
But I got a fairly good way down it. Emma and I were working on it together, and I had a big data loss, and I lost all of my notes for it. And I've tried picking it back up and working on it again since then, but there's this weird mental block that happens when I know that I did something once and then now I can't remember how I did it exactly. And so instead of like being able to like approach the problem fresh again and like come up with a solution to like how a move should work or something, my brain just gets like stuck in this loop of like trying to remember how I did it before, and I can't because I don't have any of my notes. And that has just like stalled me completely on that project, and so I'm probably going to move on to something else instead, and maybe come back to Quandary Club eventually and
Mm.
write something fresh once my brain has had time to forget it. But yeah, no, that was really sad because like we were about to start playtesting when I lost everything. So yeah.
Oh, and you back up everything meticulously now? Did you learn your lesson?
Yes.
Or?
Well, the problem with that was how we lost it was because of a backup migration.
Oh.
I just built a new PC, and so I was switching everything over, and all of my stuff is backed up to Google Drive. And when I was migrating the Google Drive, like I do a one-to-one backup.
Mm.
When I was doing that migration, it screwed up like all of my Google Docs for a period of time, and all of my notes were in actually a Google PowerPoint file. And the problem with those is even if you have the file, you don't have the data because it only lives on their servers. And so since all the pointers got messed up, I just lost all of that data. It was horrible.
Uh,
It
oh
was the worst.
man.
So I no longer use Google Docs for anything important because then I don't have the data myself. And I also still have backups of everything. So yeah, but you learn your lessons quick with stuff like that.
Yeah, and the first time, hopefully. What? Your brother said his pants are covered in your cat. Send help.
Uh, yeah. So I think definitely Pat and Emma and I think Riley are all downstairs watching
Oh,
watching the stream on the TV.
you're being
And so
heckled.
yeah,
A
which
group
cat is on your
heckling.
lap, Pat? Which cat do you have, or do you have more than one cat? I'm gonna guess it's probably Otto because Otto really likes Pat. We'll see what he says in the chat though.
Yeah. Anything else has been said in chat?
Something you did ask earlier that I
Hmm?
realized I totally forgot to answer was like, where did we find the cast for the show?
Yes.
Um, and I I'm in this weirdly privileged position to know a ton of people in real life who really like tabletop role playing games. So everyone who's been on the show, with the exception of I think the only special guest so far has been uh, Dana from why am I blanking on her show right now? Meddling with Monsters. There we go. She has a Monster of the Week podcast that she runs, but Dana's the only guest we've had so far. Everyone else is someone who I like know personally, and in most cases have for several years at the very least. And we've had over 15. I think we've had 15 people on the show so far, and counting, because like we're gonna have more people as time goes on. So yeah, we've had a lot of different tables. We rotate tables every time.
Hmm.
Next game is going to be our first time ever where we're going to have a repeat table. Um, we're going to have the same table from Apocalypse World playing the Between, which we were thinking about getting some guests for that game, but then I remembered that it had been ages since I'd gotten to play any Powered by the Apocalypse stuff with Amy and Dave, who played in both of our first two games. But we haven't been able to play with them since because they moved out to California, and I don't live in California. I live in the middle of the U.S. So, but we're gonna get them, and we're gonna get up to some trouble in the Wild Wild West.
Will Smith style? No.
Oh yeah, it could be. We could go Weird West with it. I don't know yet. I haven't read all of the new setting book, but I
I'm
will before we play,
sure
obviously.
at least one player will make it Weird West. I mean, you probably like Zach is obviously a bit of a chaotic player. You've probably got more than just Zach in that chaos.
Oh yeah. I would say Pat and Jell both are agents of chaos to their very core, and bring all of that to games that they play in, Monster of the Week included. And Pat will be joining us for the Between, so there will be some measure of chaos. Also, Dave can be pretty chaotic too. We'll see what playbooks they settle on before we know how weird it's going to get.
Speaking of chaotic players, and you
Hmm.
said that you were hoping at some point to not be the master of ceremonies, could you like pick the most chaotic player that you would like to get revenge on by making them the master of ceremonies and you the player, or?
Well, first let me be clear on two things.
Mhm.
One, um, I really love being the keeper. Like that is my favorite thing to do with tabletop games. It's the thing that keeps my brain engaged the most, and there's like
Yeah.
that pleasure of having all of the dancing plates, right? Um,
Gotcha.
but I'm not going to rule out ever having someone else because like lots of other people are good at running things, and it'd be really cool to have someone. I would love. There's lots of people from our show who I think would be really good. Nix has run stuff in the past and is quite good. We've played outside of the show. I really want to see Gel run something. I know you're in this chat, Gel. Hit me up. Tell me what you want to run. We could do that. Emma, of course, has run some stuff before. Would also be great. I want Pat to run something at some point. I know he's run some Fate stuff in the past. I'm just saying. I see him in the chat that I shouldn't do that to him, but like, I can't make you do anything, Pat. But the audience can. So
You should make the patrons decide. Then they would have to, wouldn't they? I
yeah,
mean, money is involved.
probably the first time we have someone else run will probably be on like a patron exclusive, and we'll see how that goes, and
Hmm.
then we'll maybe do something on the main channel. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good way to get people to be patrons, isn't it? You want to see
Yeah.
David get his revenge as being a player. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Emma has run games with me as a player before, and she does know the absolute trouble that I get up to. Can speak from experience. I think the last time I played in something she was running, I was a small frog man, a small frog priest who worshipped the spawn mother who gave birth to all things, but especially frog people. And he was an awful chaotic little boy, and I loved him.
And we'll also have you on as a player for the Monster of the Week one shot in September.
That's
So
true. Yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna. Everyone in this chat is going to get to help me because like I'm coming into this with no expectations. I've not even reviewed playbooks. We're gonna ask questions and see what chat says, and we'll get somewhere, and I'm gonna play whoever that is. So
Yeah. I mean, so far we've already made a character from Maya, and that's Sean the Wronged, and she's already got Pinterest boards and all sorts and a playlist. So
excellent.
I don't think you have to go that far, but we'll get at least the bare bones done. Speaking of Maya, she did ask a question earlier. What is the
Mhm.
most challenging thing with playing with a rotating cast?
So I'll start with a benefit. Is that I I can pretty much run whatever I want, because Whereas like if we only ever played with the same group, people have their tastes, right? And everyone's tastes are a little bit different. But like with a particular play group, it will usually whittle down to like certain types of like certain group of stories or certain type of games that like they kind of favor.
Hmm.
But since I have a pretty wide cast to choose from, if there's a game I really want to play, and I pass a list of them to our patrons, and they help us choose what to play next, and we go to play that game, I can find a table of people who will want to play that game, right? So like
Hmm.
that's the benefit of having a big table, like a wide cast, is
Yeah.
like there will be someone who I know who wants to play this game with me. Um, but then the downsides do come in when it comes to editing, because instead of like knowing 3 or 4 voices super well, I know 12 to 15 voices barely.
Mm.
The only voice I would say like I know super well at this point is my own. And so like I'm very familiar with like what my EQ needs to sound like and like how to edit mine. But like editing for a new person, every time a new person joins a show, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do yet until I like start playing around with their stuff. And so it's a little bit new every time because of that. And then the other hardest thing is scheduling. Like when you have a set group of people, then you know what everyone's schedule is, and it's always that way unless somebody like changes a job or like has some other life event. But with a big wide cast, and I'm like, okay, I want to play this game. And when do you all exist as humans? When can we do this together? And it's always a different answer. So
Do you find you're the one who is more flexible to try and meet the group in terms of scheduling, or?
I have the convenience of working a roughly 9 to 5. You know, the usual 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Sometimes I'm called to do work outside of that, but that gives me a pretty stable schedule.
Hmm.
And I often will like I'll clear my calendar if I need to run the show. Like I want to play these games with people and I want to get the recordings done. So like I make the time for it if I have to, and I don't usually have much difficulty with that. Some of our harder people to schedule are like Dempsey, who's in our current game playing Pigsmoke. Dempsey is super hard to schedule. He's a teacher and does a ton of stuff outside of that, and is like he's always busy with a million things. Phil, who's my other brother, he's only been in the one game because scheduling Phil is impossible. That man keeps himself so engaged with life that getting him for 8 hours of recording, 8 to 10 hours of recording is too much usually.
So speaking of that, do you usually record in a large block of time and then cut it down into episodes, or?
Yeah, I wish I could say here's our formula, but it's been a little bit different like every game. But we do generally do a block recording. We'll do the setup, which is usually just a couple of hours recording. We'll do that like usually on a weeknight, sometimes on a weekend.
Hmm.
And then a couple of weeks later, we'll record the game. And we try to record that as close together as possible. If we can squeeze it into one day, we will, but usually that's too exhausting. So what we've taken to doing recently is we'll schedule like 4 or 5 hour blocks on like a Saturday and a Sunday, or a Friday and a Saturday, or
Hmm.
sometimes during the week if that's what people's schedules are for. And we'll try to record those back to back 2 days in a row and crank out the entire game, the entire one shot, and then edit it down the line. The episodes come out, and then we'll record our post-apocalypse after our finale goes out. So we'll get questions from the audience of like things they want to ask the cast, and then we'll record our retrospective on like what we liked about the game, how we felt about it, answer questions, that sort of thing, and then we do the cycle all over again for the next one.
Hmm.
A good habit, a bad habit that started up with the last couple of games is instead of recording all of the game in those like 2 days, we'll record like all but the finale, and then we'll get too tired, and then we'll wait until the rest of the game has come out, quickly record the finale right before, like, right after the last episode comes out. So then it gives me just enough time to edit it before it goes out. And we've done that for Monster of the Week.
Hmm.
We did that for Pigsmoke. And I think we also did that for Brindlewood Bay, but I think that one we ran out of time with the main editing, like with the main recording, because people had to go.
Your brother
Sometimes that's how it is.
said, "I just want to talk to my friends, David."
Well, yeah, Pat's part of the problem. He's one of the reasons we go long on things. Two of those games that I just mentioned that we had to record the finale later, Pat was in. I'm just saying, he's the common denominator.
Other than you, but yeah.
Well, yeah, admittedly, I'm in all of them. Really, I'm to blame.
Do you think that the finales ended up being better than they could have been or worse than they could have been because there was that gap in time?
Um, the two that I think are easiest to compare for this are Pigsmoke and Monster of the Week. Monster of the Week, the finale ended up being super long because of it. Because we were getting tired and we actually went down an entirely different ending and we didn't like where we were going, and so like as a cast we decided to like we would cut earlier in the episode. That'd be where the previous one ended, and then we would wait till everything came out and then like figure out how we wanted to end it. And that's what we did. But because we did it that way, that finale is like a double feature length episode. It's huge, and also if it felt like we were going to a particular place in the arc leading up to that, I don't want to say the finale mismatches because it does, like I think all the characters are still the same and everything still like flows, but it is just like a whole new idea that we had and ran with.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Monster of the Week one was interesting. I think if anything was worse, it's just that it ended up long because everybody like came back fresh and ready to go. And with that group and everyone's fresh and ready to go, it means we go everywhere.
Yeah. So the chaotic brain cells are now pumping once more. Yes.
Exactly.
I see.
But we did that for Pigsmoke, and it worked out really well. I say tentatively. I've just started the edit for that, so I don't know exactly. But we recorded to time, and it felt really good. So hopefully it came out really well. We'll see. It definitely. Pigsmoke and Monster of the Week were both very absurdist stories for us, taking absurd things very seriously. Of course, in Monster of the Week, like one of our players is just a big old caterpillar man who hits things with a wrench to fix them. So like a little bit of the absurdness in that story. And then like in Pigsmoke, one of our characters is on the Grand Hunt extremely seriously. He is a historian. He's on the Grand Hunt to figure out what happened to the Arby's barbecue sandwich. He starts off in the second episode digging up inside of like creating a dig site in the middle of an Arby's and like digging down into their foundation. And it just gets crazier from there. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who listens to it, but it is a weird arc. It's a very weird arc.
Interesting. So it sounds like you probably don't need to play Quinn from Monster Hours PBTA game. Interestingly called Absurdia then, does it? Because you've already been there twice, essentially.
Well, there's going to be a list very soon this month. I guess this is my Patreon plug. If you join sometime this month, I'm going to be having hey everybody, rank this list of games that I want to play in order of preference. Very soon for next year because the Between is going to carry us through the end of December. And on that list, Absurdia will be there. I really want to play it for the show, but it'll depend on what our patrons say. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, there you go. Feel free to drop the Patreon link in the chat if you want, or if anyone in your group is in chat could do it for you. That's good too.
Emma, Pat, Jell, I know all three of you are here somewhere. I think Riley's here too.
And the animals, by the sounds of things. At least Otto.
Yeah. Otto, please. Kitty, my boy, my son. Put the link in the chat. Use the computer that I know you're good at.
Well, we are a cat-friendly chat stream, so.
That's right. We got cat emojis here.
Yeah. They're all of Ricky, my cat, who was just in here before scratching up my chair going, "Feed me, mommy!" But he obviously got bored. He needs someone to walk him to his food. He knows it's there. And he knows that his dad's in the same room as his food, but he needs someone to walk him there. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Persephone will watch me put her food. She has to eat higher up than the other cats because they'll try to steal her food. So she'll watch me put it on the table, and she'll just stare at me. And I have to like pick her up and put her on the table, and then she will eat her food. But she can jump that high. She does it all the time. But when I'm trying to feed her, no, nope. She's like, you're gonna give it to me, right? I'm here. But
You got to take me to my food now. I mean, I am the house cat god, Daddy. Worship me. So does
I
anyone
mean, she
else
does have
got?
the name of a goddess.
Oh, true, true.
Yeah.
And from half in the underworld. I guess you're
Hmm.
taking her to the above world to feed, right? And then above the
Yes,
table,
exactly.
below the table. So, has anyone else got any other questions for David here about the podcast, about life, the universe, number 42, the apocalypse, anything here before we move on to creating a character for him? I'm trying to think if I've got any other questions off the top of my head as well. Is there anything you want to
Well,
bring up, David? Is there anything we should talk about?
well, we sparked a big discussion on Arby's in the chat, so we've done good work there today.
Good.
Um, Let me think. I mean, something I would say to people, just in general, is don't be afraid to try a new game. Especially like in the Powered by the Apocalypse umbrella. There's a lot of variety and there's a lot of simplicity the more you play of them, with picking up something new. Like I've talked to people before where they've said like, oh, like wow, you play so many different games. Like, how do you like handle all of that? And it's like I I don't know what there is to handle. I read it and then we play it. And for most of them, that's just that simple. It's as long as you're open to it, then it's really not so hard. And also, like most of the times we play things on the show, it is my first time running it,
Hmm.
and if I will run something and make a fool of myself for the public, then like you can run something in your own home or I don't know, online. It doesn't have to be your home. It could be someone else's home. You could run something in the public, in the in the square, and it's fine. You can run something new. You can make mistakes. It's a good time. You'll learn something. I've learned something every arc we've done. So like, yeah, just get out there and play games. It's fun. Tell stories.
Yeah. We have a couple of questions on here. First up from Maya. I'm not asking your question, Dixon. It's not worth it. What was the moment for you for the podcast that you were like, holy crap, we're doing it and people are listening and enjoying the podcast?
Mm. Ah, I think I was mild spoiler for our first episode of Monster of the Week, everyone. It's in the first 5 minutes or I guess 10 minutes of the episode because the first 5 minutes is previously on stuff. But uh, there is a black hole swan in the start of our Monster of the Week game. It is a dumb joke that I made once and then we turned into part of the episode. And there was like so many people who listened to our show who reached out to me either on Twitter or on Discord in like the ensuing weeks after that came out, like talking about like how much they liked that bit. And I was like, that we were just making goofs in the car one day and came up with that. Like it's not that significant. And then like I go back and listen to that part of the episode and it's really good. Like I'm really proud of like the editing work that we did there. Um we had some like custom music written for it, and it like we taking dumb things exceptionally seriously is something that I'm very good at, and I think that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, like people have been listening to this and they kind of like what we're doing. That's weird, that's wild. But I think there's been a little bit of that with everything we've done so far, but I think that was like one of those moments where I was just honestly surprised that people thought it was as funny as I did. um
They get you.
my core ethos with the show is like, and I say this, I think I've said this in a post-apocalypse at some point, but if you're not telling the jokes that you laugh at the hardest, then you're telling the wrong jokes, because like life's too short to say things that you think other people will find funny when you can say things that you find funny. And that's like kind of what I live or die by with the podcast. It's like if I don't like this, if I don't find this funny, then like if somebody else does, that's an accident. Like how could I even expect that? I can only ever really know what I like about something, right? So yeah, that's kind of been how the show's worked with that.
Yeah, I find
That was a
also
good moment.
my own experience from listening to other podcasts, if they're enjoying themselves and having a good time and are excited, it really does rub off on you as the listener as well.
Yeah,
Um,
It's contagious.
Yeah, yes, infectious. And you feel like you want to be there with them. Dixon just made us hydrate 5 times, so take 5 sips, please. I've already done mine. Also, from More Shady, what's the tiniest hole in the wall? Wait, what was that PBTA game you've found that you want to run?
Oh. Um, okay, I think I have two for this. One, there's one called Spin the Beetle, where each everyone has the role of like another beetle that is trying to get down and dirty with other beetles, and you have like a list of questions to like ask the other players, and you like how you answer. It's like this weird social dance, but you're all beetles, and it's like a little one pager, and it's fantastic, and I want to play it really bad. I want to get together a fun table for that. But there's actually a I have been thinking for a while on doing a arc of the show where we just play a bunch of really short games, so each one is like actually only an episode.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And another one that I really want to do for that is called Nano World, a game of clones. And it's a game where like you're in a society that has widespread cloning and something has changed or gone wrong, and it's like sort of figuring out what happened.
Uh-huh.
And I want to get together. So my name is David. There's lots of us in this world. I know several Davids. We've had one Dave on the show. His name is also David. And I want to get together all the Davids I know. I guess, oh shit. I just said we've only had one Dave on the show. Dempsey's on the show, and Dempsey's name is also David. I've just called him Dempsey his entire life because
Yeah,
I got to be, he's younger than I am, so I got to be David first. So he's Dempsey. Uh, and so I already have those two Davids. I have several other Davids waiting in the wings. So I'm just going to do a table of all Davids, and we're going to play a clone game, and it's going to be great. So that's another one that I really want to do.
Yeah, see, I know a lot of Sean's, so I
Mm.
even run a D&D game for Sean from Regatta Wolf, and
Mhm.
we call him Original Sean, and we've got other Sean. And it's Sean spelt the same way, too. So
Oh
it's
no.
even more confusing. But yeah, I know a variety of Sean, so. But that would be funny, because do you call them by their in-game name? And if they're all clones, do they all still have the same name anyway? So. How are you going to do
Yeah,
it? Are you just going to point on or at the Dave?
my
Or?
idea. I don't know how it'll work out because we haven't done it yet. But I think what we'll do is like all of the clones are gonna have like a little prefix, like a like in, and then like a series of numbers or something. And so everyone will like be called by their code name. And I'm just really excited because in all of our show notes, I have like the player character name and then the player name.
Mm-hmm.
Like for
Dave,
instance, in Monster of the Week, we had Lenny, like we had Zach as Lenny or whatever. So then I just want David as
Yes.
blank, David as blank. I just want a whole cast of Davids. I'm living to play that game just for that joke in the show notes. I'm so excited.
Yep. Yep. I say go for it. So when are you going to be running these little one shots?
I don't know. We'll see whenever we set the time aside for it. It's
Put it
always
in your
like
list.
finding time to run things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
As
there
soon
was
as
some other
you
fun
brought up all
questions.
those Davids, it just made me think of. I mean, this is a
Hmm.
book I haven't read myself, but my husband's read it. Called The Book of Dave, where it's basically a religious. Whole religion is built around this guy called Dave. So.
I have not read the Book of Dave. I have read An Abundance of Catherines by oh, what's his face? He wrote The Fault in Our Stars and other famous young adult novels.
Is that one of the
He's
Green
also
brothers?
yeah, it's the John Green. There it is. Yeah, John Green wrote that. The book was not incredible, but there was an abundance of Catherines in it, and I
Oh,
do have to give it credit
so
for that.
it wasn't false advertising
Yeah,
at all.
exactly. It was
Yeah.
what it said on the tin.
We've got confirmation. It
Um,
is John Green.
as John Green, excellent. Oh boy, we
Amarilla's
did miss.
flower. Thank you. Yeah, was there any other questions? Amarilla said you found a game with bugs and didn't tell me.
Sorry, Riley.
I
I
think you've
did.
got a volunteer for that table already.
Oh no, I would love to have Riley in that one. She would
Oh,
be too good at it. She would spook the hell out of me.
Okay. To on point with being a bug. Um,
Yes.
Maya says, David, would you rather run a funny game or a drama/serious game?
I feel like the Tony Stark is it too much to ask for both meme. But it's hard to choose. I think I mean, this year has been the year of comedy on the podcast. Like we did our Monster of the Week game, which is absolutely a comedy, and then we did our Pigsmoke game, which is also absolutely a comedy. And It's not going to be the year though, because we are going into the Between. The Between will be a much more serious game, but we'll see like where exactly it lands. We haven't played it yet, so like it could go dark. It could straddle just more like a sort of gritty adventure thing. We'll see when we get there. But I think our audience really likes it when we do comedies because we have a lot of people who are really good for that sort of thing. Um, I think my favorite game we've done so far, as far as like the final package,
Mm-hmm.
is probably The Watch, which was our main serious game from our first year of the show. It was like this queer military drama, and it's like super good. I really love how The Watch came out. It has some of our like best dialogue and scene work that I think we've done in the show. So like, I don't know. I like doing both. I like running goofy games. I like running less serious stuff. I think my ideal is to run a game in a fairly absurd world, take it quite seriously, and spend enough time in it that we can have a good mix of both elements. I think so far, because we do one shots, you kind of have to pick a tone. It's really hard to have to have enough time, enough space to go between comedic scenes that really hit and dramatic scenes that really hit. That's really much easier to achieve in a longer form medium. So whenever we get around to running some kind of long form content, that's probably the tone I will aim for. Is somewhere in between, a little bit of both. I love both. Uh,
Mm.
I love I love delivering dramatic lines. My favorite monologue I've had in the show is in Brindlewood Bay when I get to be the villain. It's tough to say with that arc, but I get to play a character in the finale who really likes to monologue, and she is incredible fun to voice. And like I love how some of those lines came out. So I don't know.
Mm.
I sort of answered that question. The answer is both. Both is good. Both
Yes.
is good.
Why not both?
Yeah. ¿Por qué no
um,
los dos?
yeah. I think it was Dixon asked earlier, way earlier in the stream, if you could say something in the captain's voice.
Oh.
And you know
What should I
immediately who
say?
I'm talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Dixon in the chat, give me something to say. What am I saying?
No, it wasn't you. Well,
Oh, it
someone
wasn't
asked
being.
for
Oh,
it. Sorry,
someone did.
it seemed most likely to have been Dixon. So it was like early on in the stream.
Early on.
Yep. But if anyone has something for David to say in character as the captain from the Monster of the Week arc, you know, the starfish
Oh,
guy. Oh, it was
it was
Maya.
Maya.
Sorry. What do you want him to say?
What should I say?
Dashy's got to type something out.
Yeah, thankfully, the captain's voice. There are some characters where it takes me a while to get into it. It'll take me a couple tries, but Dixon, no, that's too complicated. Please.
Dixon says, tell us about the captain making a log while sitting on the captain's log, making a captain's log. 22.22.22. I guess she's writing a novel.
Captain's log. 22.22.22. It's a fun voice to do because like I have to like stretch my mouth for it to get the intonation right. He's just a little starfish living the life of a big important captain. It's a fun voice to do. It's thankfully like some voices are harder to maintain.
Mm.
In Pigsmoke, I have kind of like my best J. Jonah Jameson impression, sort of, from the Spider-Man films. Uh, and I lose it all the time. So like, there's a ton of bloopers for the first two episodes where he shows up as a character. The dean is voiced with that voice, the dean of the school,
Mhm.
and like, there's just a bunch of bloopers of me going like, "Bring me pictures of Spider-Man," like off to the side, because I'm losing the voice.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Get you there. Because we discussed that in the Keeper's Book Club, don't we? Has
Mhm.
that gone out yet, Maya? When's that going out? If it hasn't, for yeah, they're not paying attention. They're going on about the captain.
Ooh, Captain ordering at Arby's would be fun though. Let me think. Let me think. Oh yeah, I'd like number five combo. Hold the drink. I'm watching my figure. I'd like a large curly fry though. I like the way they twiddle as I. How does a starfish eat? Did we establish that the captain has a mouth? I guess I sort of said that he. Oh yeah, for everyone who hasn't watched the like listened to the show, the captain is a 1 foot tall starfish man who is described as being the most grizzled starfish you have ever seen. Um, and that's really the only description we ever gave him, very intentionally, so everyone could visualize their own version of the captain. We did describe him briefly as being slightly like that of Solid Snake, so like he's got them glutes. But
I'm
yeah, I don't know.
pretty sure most people have probably used Patrick from SpongeBob as their
Yeah,
who they've
I
imagined.
if you visualize Patrick from SpongeBob, I want you to replace Patrick's face with just like the most grizzled sort of like JoJo's man face. And that's what the captain looks like. I don't know. He's got like a scar. Who knows?
Dixon says he has a mouth, but it's on the wrong side, is what you said.
Oh, yeah. So I think, yeah, I did indicate that it's sort of a Patrick Star situation where the mouth should be on the back, but instead it's on the front. The front. What is the front for this starfish, man? Who knows?
So Maya says the book club Jeepers Keepers is coming out on Tuesday CST. They have a watch party on the Monsters Playbook Discord at 7 p.m. CST. You didn't give me a date
Ooh,
there. You put in CST by mistake. Maya, you could help with that.
is that next Tuesday? That's soon.
Yeah. So that was a keeper panel where myself, David, Susanna from Thornvale, and I'm blanking. What was the other names?
Boy, that was a
Anyway,
while ago.
yeah,
Johnny was in that, wasn't he?
Johnny. Yeah, is that it? I feel like there was someone else.
Are we
Anyway,
missing someone?
there's a number of us talking about keepering and our experiences and stuff like that. That'll be out in the Monsters Playbook.
Yeah,
This coming
that was a ton
Tuesday,
of
the
fun. That
23rd.
was a very fun discussion.
Johnny, David, Susanna, and oh, it was just the four of us.
Okay, we got
Okay,
it. We got it. Yeah,
yay!
nailed it.
Wow, like I said, it was a while ago. So yeah. Okay, so should we move on to making a character for
Yeah,
David
let's do
here?
it.
Does
This is
anyone?
actually this is gonna be really fun. This is my
Yeah.
first time ever making a Monster of the Week character, so
Oh yeah, true.
I've played in other games, but I've only ever run Monster of the Week, and I've run it several times, but I've never gotten to play it before, so
Well,
first time.
I had played it first, so and then I was like, "Fuck, man, I want to run this for people." So yeah, that was how that happened. Maya says,
Thanks, Maya.
"Oh, you cute monster of the week player, baby." Dora the
Oh,
Explorer, we did it.
Dixon, you're referencing Dora the Explorer. What you couldn't possibly know is that I am a massive fan of Dora the Explorer. I watched like all of that when I was a kid and stuff. So like I know Dora. We're friends. We're pals.
Did you also watch the movie?
I haven't watched the Golden Temple. Well, it was like the Golden Temple, I think, or
I
something
don't
like that.
remember.
I
I've
haven't
not
watched it
seen
yet.
it myself.
I've heard it. They break the fourth wall in like the first scene though. So like I want to watch it. It sounds great. But
Yeah, last time we did this with Maya, I actually pulled up the playbooks, but I forgot to set them up in advance. So if you guys want to wait a minute, I might be able to do that. now, unless you guys are already familiar with everything. I just gotta remember where I kept them. Probably in my downloads folder, because that's where one would be dumb enough to leave it, wouldn't it? So it's the main. We decided on the main playbooks just to make it easy on us. And I'll scroll down a little bit. So on the Google Doc is where you can put any information if you want to put information on there. But otherwise,
I guess I could use the book.
Yeah, you could
instead
use
of
the book.
I was like trying to pull it up online and realizing that like why don't I have an electronic because I have the physical book. I don't have to.
So what is this called?
What are our options though?
Okay. Oh my god, that's humongous. Sorry, Chad, if you're watching. Now I've got to remember how to shrink everything.
Oh boy, that is big.
I know. Whoops.
OBS, you can do this. We believe in you.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Dixon. Monster of the Week book. It's not just for sniffing. It's true. It actually there's stuff on the pages. See?
Yeah, printed information. Helpful. Okay. Now I've just got to make it the right size. So if anyone has a copy of this yourself, start looking. Or if you're familiar with them already, that would be helpful.
Boy. Yeah, there are some of these that I have not even looked at before. This will be fun. Like I don't know how I missed it, but like I did not even know the Initiate was a playbook.
You didn't? Oh, interesting. Okay. Now it shrunk itself.
All right.
So helpful.
But I mean, chat. Please engage with us as we go through with this. I have no. I'm coming to this with none preferences. I will hear your offers and I will weigh them, and we will move forward, I guess.
What are they saying? I'm not looking. Obviously, I'm trying to fix this up. Do.
Wait, I see from Maya. You should be familiar with them because we went over them last time. Oh, you're talking to Sarah. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, did we go over them in the Keepers thing? I don't remember doing that. But no, yeah, you did go over them in the previous stream. That's true.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Oh, it is really tough to choose because Monster of the Week has so many great players. See, this is why I always run things, because then I don't have to limit myself to just one. I can just play everyone. That's great.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are they saying?
Okay. Well, I've seen a lot of different options. We've seen some spooky from Pat. Morshadi thinks we should maybe go the mundane. Emma's suggesting monstrous.
Well, wronged is already off the table, so just so everyone knows.
All right. That's easy enough. Are there any others? We see Pararomantic from Morshadi as well.
No, it's just wronged that's off the table as far as I know. I haven't heard anything from Johnny if he has preferences or whatever. So for those who don't know, we've got The Chosen, which is essentially Buffy or one of the Supernatural brothers. I can't remember which one off the top of my head because I don't really watch the show. We've got The Crooked. Who's a good example of The Crooked? Basically the bad, a criminal of the type. Can't remember.
My first The Crooked example comes from a podcast, not from a show. I think at this point I've consumed more Monster of the Week podcasts than I have Monster of the Week television shows.
I'm sure they might know who you're talking about. Obviously, there's Marie from Redgate and Wolf, but
I mean,
And
isn't JR the crooked
yes,
in Monster
JR.
Hour? Yeah.
Yep.
So like my brain goes to JR when I think of
Yeah.
crooked characters.
And we've got the Divine. So Castile from Supernatural, or Michael Carpenter from Dresden Files is an example there. The good expert example is Giles from Buffy again.
Mhm.
And we've got the Flake. These are the conspiracy theorists. You're looking at like the lone gunman from X Files is a good example. You could even argue Mulder could be a Flake. The Initiate. The Initiate. What's a good example of the Initiate? They're a person from like a sect or something. Can't think of one off the top of my head. I mean, if you're familiar with Red and Wolf, that's Jackson Steele, obviously.
Mhm.
We've got the Monstrous, which is, any monster character. We've got lots to choose from. Angel and Spike from Buffy. I'm sure there was heaps on Supernatural. Presumably they're good enough at least to get along with the other monster hunters to hunt monsters.
Or if you've listened to our show, a sentient goo creature.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's lots of monstrous options.
Then we've got the
I am seeing
Mundane.
monsters pop up because of the Everglade, but
Do they want you to play that? I mean, we could try and
some
make that
some
if you
people want the
want.
Everglade. We'll see. Let's keep going.
Okay, so we got the Mundane, who is your, just your regular Joe in any of these shows.
Hmm.
You've got Xander. I mean, not the greatest example of the Mundane, but they are actually a bit more gooder than you expect. The Professional. Hmm. These are like your maybe work for an agency or a cop or something like that. So you've got Scully would probably be a good example from X Files.
And what like any agent from Shield
Oh
in
yes,
like the Marvel
yes,
series is a professional
yeah,
usually.
yeah.
Colson's a
Yeah,
professional.
Coulson. The Spellslinger. This is your Dresden essentially, or anyone who, or even Willow. One could argue. The Spooky. A lot of people play the Spooky as a young girl, myself included. But yeah,
uh Admittedly, the spooky is does lean into some of my strengths as a character builder, which is I can just go weird with it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I will play anything. I will play anything.
And the artwork does depict a young girl. And then we've got Sean the Wronged, but we obviously can't pick Wronged. So we have 11 choices, people.
Hmm.
Dixon says Willow is more of a spooky hex. Yeah, and you can do that. You can add more than just, what is in the one playbook. But
Yeah.
yeah, characters do evolve over time through playbooks, and I believe Willow did that too. Um, Looks like Moral Dilemma thinks you would make a great spooky. Your brother says spooky, if not Everglady. Maya says spook.
The
Amaryllis
Everglade
Flower says spooky.
for folks' context who haven't heard our Monster of the Week arc, at one point we referred to like there being an Everglade Yeti, and it was the Everglade. And we mentioned that offhand in the first episode as a like you're not ready to handle the Everglade moment, and then like it gets brought back up in the finale. Um, we don't ever actually have the Everglade on camera, so we could really go wild if we wanted to go that route. We see some good spooky
Yeah.
insight. I both sound fun to me. Monstrous is very classic monster of the week. Spooky, I think, is very in my wheelhouse as well. I don't know.
I think everyone's gone from Everglade to spooky, so sounds like spooky is where we're going.
I would love to get spooky.
Yeah. So, does anyone have any suggestions for spooky, like a name or we'll start? Where do you start? Well, you're not usually a player, so
Yeah.
where do you
So
usually
I,
start?
I I can't remember when I was explaining this to someone recently, but when I'm designing a character, I usually start with like a central conceit for them. Oftentimes that's a joke, but it doesn't always have to be. Just like a lot of my world building, I do the same way. Where like I have a conceit for what I want it to sort of generally be like, and usually that comes from a joke.
Hmm.
But what would be what's the conceit for this spooky character? Why are they spooky? Who are they spooky? How are they spooky? Um,
Should we go
hmm.
complete opposite of little girl spooky?
Old man? Old
That might
man
be
spooky?
creepy.
I can do creepy. I don't know. Thoughts, chat, please.
Amaryllis says, "Would you rather get spooky or get swifty?"
I mean, no reason you can't do both.
Yeah.
Get spooky, swifty, swifty,
Um,
spooky.
Bring the wit. Johnny would love it, says Maya. Dixon says psychic sneezes.
Okay. Let me review the spooky real quick. Let me pull it up in the book and
Pat says
what do
Q
they do?
Professor
What do
Oak. Are you male or female?
they...
Maya says old man spooky. Moral Dilemma thinks she should be a little girl.
I do. I have a recurring character I've run for D&D who, she's a little baby sorceress. She's like 10, and I do like doing child characters sometimes because they're very like word vomit,
Oh yeah,
which is
yeah,
incredibly fun to role play.
yeah, yeah.
But
My spooky
old
was
man is fun
from
too.
Untitled Dice Game, who I later bought for a one shot on role players, but she was essentially a 15-year-old girl who talks to dead people and would use the ghosts around her in everyday life to use do some of her abilities. So she would talk to them because of true sight. She would use them as a big whammy. She would ask them to do something for her. And she also ended up with telekinesis, and it was actually asking the ghosts to do it instead of, using actual telekinesis too. And
But
she
it's easy
word
to fake.
vomited too, yes. Some,
I'm not sure what you mean, Dixon. Or no, it was Maya who said I think the tag could help with background building.
the tag.
I don't know what the tag is in this instance.
Oh, yes.
I was
You
looking.
pick 3 tags for your dark side. So the dark side is your powers
Oh.
have an unsavory source, and sometimes you get tempted to do things you
Ooh,
shouldn't.
okay, yeah.
These could be orders
Okay.
from whatever granted your power or urges that bubble up from your
Oh.
subconscious. Something
Is
like
it is
that,
it
whatever
possible
it
to
is. It's
do
unsettling.
is it possible to do a vote in chat?
A poll?
I think
I don't know how to
a
run a
poll.
poll, but yeah.
Because like I think we've talked about doing a kid, we've talked about doing an old man.
Hmm.
I will pose it to the chat. Do we want young girl? Do we want old man? Chat, choose for us. We'll start there and then we'll go to the tag stuff for the dark side. 'Cause
Okay.
that I think should influence us.
I'll see if my husband's paying attention
Ooh, moody
by
teen
banging
is
on the
good,
wall.
but I kind of want to go to extremes here. I want to go kid or old man.
I don't know how to make a poll. How do you make a poll, Trucks? Slash poll. Okay. Open a setup menu.
I'm seeing both. Seeing both. Let's get an official poll going to tabulate for us.
Ah, here we go. So what do you want?
Old man, young girl. Those are our poll options.
Old man or young girl? Um. Okay. 2-minute poll. Use your channel points to vote, people. Only 10 channel points required, so What about a young girl who pretends to be an old man?
That's too much. That's too much. Too complicated. No.
For a one shot, too complicated. For a longer
Yeah.
campaign, that would be much more
Could be
interesting.
fun. Could be
Yeah.
fun.
So far, we have four,
I'm seeing
five.
old
It's
man, young
5-1
girl.
at the moment.
5-1.
6-1.
And
But
the
people
bats are
can make
swinging.
multiple votes. So
What?
yeah, that's the thing with this poll. I don't know how to do it properly. But thanks to Trucks for
You can
telling me how
vote
to set it
with
up.
points.
Yeah, don't vote with points. More coins equals more votes from Trogs there. Amaryllis Flower says Benjamin Button. So
Wait.
an old man who turns into a young
Oh.
girl?
Well, okay, no, we're getting somewhere.
Buffy the Vampire
Benjamin
Slayer,
Button?
Glory, and her brother, how they were the one character.
I could do an old man who actually is a young boy. Like we could do a Benjamin Button situation. That could be really fun. Ooh. That is very tempting.
The old man that thinks he's a young girl. So we've got a Merlin option now. It seems more people want you to be an old man anyway than a young girl at the moment.
It does seem to go that way, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Samantha Vito. We're just voting on what character David is going to play. We've decided on Spooky, and now we're thinking maybe he'll be a Benjamin Button / Merlin type. How young? How young looking would this old man be for the one shot? Okay.
Yeah. So I guess now we're in a different territory, right? Do we want a young-looking old man, or do we want a old man who is actually like 10? Like, which do we want the Benjamin Button situation going which way? At what stage of Button are we?
What stage of Button?
Dixon, I love that idea, but I think it's too much for a one-shot. You could 100% cycle through different ages as the story goes. That would be awesome, but it'd be great for a campaign. And I think it might be too busy for a one-shot.
Yeah, it seems like I can't change it to... Oh, no. I've turned off additional votes. That might help. We'll see how that goes, people. At what stage of Button?
Yes. I will refrain from voting. I want to see what the chat says.
I don't know how you were able to vote this time. You might just click on it. Yeah. Okay. So far, 1 for the old man and young body. It's even
50-50?
now.
Oh. They're off to the races.
Young child and
young
old
child
body.
and old body in the lead. Young child and old body is in the lead. Old man and the young body is still falling behind. It is 2-1 for the young child and the old body. Oh, and we've tied 2-2. They're neck and neck now. Old man and the young body just edging ahead to first. Oh, nope. They're still 50%, 2-2. Young child and an old body. He's waiting. He's young. He's old. Which one is he? We'll find out soon.
4 people have voted. There might not be enough people. We could just call it at that point.
If one more person, because we've got more than 4
This is true. We need one more person.
One more person. Break the tie.
Break the tie.
Who's going to be our tiebreaker? Whoever is first to 3 here.
Oh!
Okay, it is an old man and a young body. The votes are in 3-2. Oh, don't have any more points.
It's because I already allowed 1 vote per person this time. Yes, I'm learning as we go. Okay, so it's old man and young body. Man and young body. I've written that in. I guess pronouns. Are we going with he, him?
Yeah, this feels like a he, him character.
Yeah. Anything else you want to fill in while we're here, or get the opinion of people?
Let me pull it back up. I lost my page. Okay. So yeah. So we're gonna be. Our look is kid, but we are old.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love characters with unblinking eyes.
Yeah.
We can definitely select that. And then ooh, I am a little bit inspired by this girl with the unicorn T-shirt on the front. Okay.
Transformers
What
T-shirt or
Transformers? Transformers is fun. Transformers is ironic because
onesie?
old man. Oh, actually,
Yeah.
that's a good question. What would he have liked when he was a kid? What's popular with
Zoomers these
va-
days. Younger Zoomers.
what yeah, well, what's popular with kids? Is he trying to blend in, or is he wearing things that remind him of his own youth? That's the question.
Well, if he's
Steamboat
yeah.
Mickey would be fun.
Ah, true. Hang on. I got confused. Old man and young buddy. He could be wearing a suit.
Oh yeah, he's an. If I'm old and I'm in a young body, what do I wear? What do I put on me? Uh,
You'd be probably more presentable, wouldn't you? Clean cuts, clothes fit correctly. Wow, I'm really dissing the youth of today, aren't I? Dad's favorite baseball team. What, Pat?
oh,
What?
sweater
Mark
vest is good. Knit sweater and loafers. That is fun.
Dixon wants you to wear a sweater vest.
I
Yep.
love the idea of a sweater vest.
Amaryllis
Okay,
says it as well.
okay. So then I think what we're gonna do, we'll do a sweater vest. We'll have like a simple white dress shirt underneath, rolled up at the elbows, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then should we go bow tie? Should we go tie? Is he
Oh,
like
bow
unbuttoned
tie.
with the vest? Like
Bow
what are we thinking?
tie. I
How
think
formal are
bow
we?
tie. Well, if he's going to be monster hunting, he probably won't bother with too many accessories, would he? Because he knows he'll have to get rough.
I mean, or he like complains constantly that he's ruining his nice clothes, even though he always ruins his nice clothes.
True, 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 true.
Clip on bow tie. Ooh, that's good energy.
Oh,
That
but
is
then he
good
can
energy
take it
right
off
there.
quickly, wouldn't he? It's like take
Yeah.
it off before he goes into a fight.
Pulls away his clip-on bow tie. Okay, no, let's do that. I like that. Bolo tie is also good. I see bolo tie a few places. If I do a bolo tie, I'm gonna be tempted to like go more, do a different accent for that. I don't know if I wanna. I don't know if I want to go that far.
Wow.
Yeah, hold my tie. Yeah, I love the idea of the clip-on bow tie, just pulling it off. Top button comes undone. He's got to
It's
keep the bow tie safe.
it's
Everything else
business
can get screwed
time.
up, but the bow tie, this is special to him. He received this as a kid from his dad. Like,
And be
that was
down
like
in
80
clothing.
years ago.
Too young for an ascot. Well, we don't know, do we?
No. So yeah,
Especially
so he's
considering if
in.
he's been granted dark powers, he could be a
Mhm.
lot older than even.
Well, that's true. He could be really old in a
Mm,
kid's body.
because the whole Merlin
Um,
thing.
mhm. It could be a very, very slow Benjamin Button, where like he started off as incredibly old and has
Yeah, yeah.
actually lived for, I don't want to go like in the multi-hundred years territory. What if he's just like around 100 years old, but he looks like he's like 10, 12.
Yeah, yeah. 12 probably be a bit better. uh,
Yeah.
Leaving puberty.
Ad- Admittedly, 10 is still very small in most cases.
Yeah.
Let's say an even 13. He's a little 13, little middle schooler. That's what he looks like. In actuality, 100 years old.
Okay. Should we look at his dark side now? I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
options. I don't think I can put all of them in a poll.
Oh goodness, no.
Violence,
Let
depression, secrets, lust, dark bargain, guilt, solace, addiction, Mood swings. I mean, he could have mood swings anyway if he's
Mhm.
leaving puberty. Rage, self destruction, greed for power, poor impulse control, hallucinations, pain, and paranoia.
And we get 3 of these, chat. So we get 3 of these. I will say that the more weird leaning they are, the more interesting I think this character will become. Like things that jump out to me in here are like secrets, hallucination, dark bargain, guilt, mood swings, self-destruction is always fun for a character. Pain. I don't know. What do we think?
He could have a weird
Oh,
addiction.
good. There was a question to zoom in on the list. Is that possible?
Yep, we can't do that. How's that, guys? Is it bigger? The pain would be arthritis and the need of a hip replacement.
Oh, I love the idea of like being 13 and having arthritis. That's excellent. Oh no, I'm gone again. That's okay.
Oh, whoops.
I
I
am the
will put you in
improvement.
front of it. Where are you? Here we go. Not thinking. That's me. There we go. Oh, all the tech. Umbrella Kid and Mesa number 5 would be a good model. Yeah.
Yeah, number 5 is a great example. Very similar character. David is just words now. Pat, I always was.
I think a really weird addiction could be quite fun.
I like addiction could be fun. What all right, chat. What am I addicted to?
Because you could be addicted to, like, stickers. Something absurd like that. You gotta have all the plushies. Collecting trading
Oh,
cards. Candy.
candy, bubble gum.
Yeah, Rachel Mood Swings is puberty.
Trading
Totally.
cards.
Smelling
Okay,
books.
okay. Hear me out. Hear me out, everybody. Hear me out.
Mm.
So I'm a spooky. So I've got some weird magical stuff going on that's from some dark influence. Um, and we've established that like I have this old presence in this young body. Are we just recreating Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh? Is that what's happening right now?
Someone
He
said
has like,
Detective Conan vibes earlier.
yeah. But I saw the trading cards. I do like the idea of him basically just playing Yu-Gi-Oh, but in real life, and like trying to banish people to the Shadow Realm. That sounds very fun to me.
I mean, he could do that for his use magic, couldn't he? If you take
Exactly.
that for your
Yeah.
weird move. Someone says he's got a pipe that blows bubbles, and he must blow bubbles. Someone else is like bubblegum, and he has to like blow bubbles, so the popping would mean he wouldn't be stealthy.
I will take a pipe that blows bubbles. I like that'll be an item. We'll have that for sure.
I think they want you to play Yugi.
I would love to play Yugi. That would be so funny. Yugi the Monster Hunter. I like the idea of them like got friggin' the whole dual deck on their arm. They play their cards against people, and then like spooky monster shit actually comes out of them. That'd be fantastic. I love that idea for a spooky.
Okay, okay.
So then that sounds to me then it's almost like we are if we're going for sort of the Yugi duality, I like the idea then of a spooky who actually is a kid, who actually is 13, but they have this presence that dwells with them that is like thousands of years old, is ancient, lived their life many generations and has like hung on to living by being this parasite in people's brains since then. Um, this is
They seem to
fantastic because like
really
I've
like
I've
it.
also I've also played enough Yu-Gi-Oh that I could play this character pretty well.
Dixon says, "Do you believe in the heart of the cards?"
Oh, I do. How could you not believe in the heart of the cards?
Okay, so should we go with like since he's a kid, a teen,
Yeah.
poor impulse control, mood swings, and addiction? Addiction to getting the cards kind of thing.
I feel like instead of addiction in that case, maybe it's greed for power. It's like
Greed for
trying to
power.
gain more powerful cards,
Hmm.
become more powerful. Um,
Do you
I
want
like
poor
greed for
impulse
power,
control?
poor
You
poor
just-
impulse control, and maybe hallucinations. I don't know, hallucinations could be real, or paranoia. Paranoia is also very good.
Okay, so greed for power, poor impulse control, and paranoia.
Yeah. How do chat? How do we feel about paranoia versus hallucinations? What do we think about that?
Well, there is the option for true sight, so we could always
Hmm.
tie that into hallucinations. Hazel Azizel likes paranoia better. But Dixon
We got
says
one for each.
hallucinations. Moral Dilemma says
Hallucinations.
hallucinations. What would your hallucinations be? That the cards actually have the power?
Like talk to me.
Yeah.
Well, I think one way or another they do, at least under certain circumstances with my spooky magical skills. But
Your brother says, my grandpa's deck has no bad cards. I would know. I'm my own grandpa.
oh, this could be like a presence that's been passed down like generation to generation, and it could literally be like my great 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 grandpa lives inside of me. Uh,
Dark bargain instead of paranoia has been suggested.
hmm. What's the dark bargain?
With
Greed
grandpa?
for power, poor impulse control. I'm fine with the dark bargain, but what is it?
Maybe great 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 grandpa wants to win at something, and every generation he's possessed each generation to win something, and it's different things, and this time they're up to trading cards.
Hmm. Yeah. Bargain has something to do with the Shadow Realm. I love the idea of a dark bargain. I think that could be really fun. Like, because it's almost like a some kind of compulsion, right?
Mm.
Some kind of goal, some kind of offer.
What are they saying now?
Ooh, we do have from Gel from Hazel Azazel. Dark bargain is that in exchange for the power of your ancestors, your soul will eventually be subsumed into the mix. That
Ooh.
is fun. So like right, I could have like bouts of having less of my own control of my body and more of the collective control. That could be interesting.
All of your previous ancestors are now a card.
Rather than being so yeah. Okay.
And it's like the Jumanji movies where the cards turn into whatever that generation's thing is. So it might have started out as like old baseball cards, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards at some point, and now it's Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Okay.
But Maya said if you want to tie it to Sean the Wronged, Sean has a bargain with the Fae.
True. the dark bargain there could be then like the benefit could be the empowerment of uh I guess it's like the empowerment of creativity in the end, right? Like the cards are just the vessel, the conduit for channeling the power, but really it's like applying a child's creativity, applying the creativity to magic. So
Hmm.
like there could be a link to some sort of fey or ancient power if we wanted to do a link in there with Sean.
So it sounds like we're no longer having a 100-year-old man in a 13-year-old's body. We might actually be having a 13-year-old who's gotten hold of his
I think maybe it might be like a little bit of both, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, where like our main personality is like 13-year-old, but they're like connected to this sort of collective ancient consciousness that has been passed down through their family. Ooh, I like that. Maybe the Shadow Realm is like where the Fae are from, and so like they send things back to the Shadow Realm, and in their minds that's where the Fae live. The Shadow Realm. That could be interesting. We got from Dixon, maybe a natural antithesis of the Fae. His family battles the Fae with different games.
a crotchety
Yeah,
13-year-old boy.
I think that's pretty accurate to who the character's becoming.
All right, so we going with Dark Bargain then?
I think yeah, let's do Dark Bargain.
Greed for
And
power.
like the whatever collective I'm connected to grants the power to like funnel this creativity, channel it, and like make these cards actually powerful. But like in exchange, I will become a part of it, whatever that means. Whether that means I become part of the collective, become one of the cards, become part of it one way or another.
All right, this brings up a question though. What motivated you to actually take in the Dark Bargain in the first place? Why did you take the power? What do you want to do with
Oh, I had the greed for power before I became
it?
spooky. I was approached by this voice in the back of my head that was like, "Hey, I know you're just 11, but wouldn't you like to rule the world?" And I responded, "Yes. Yes, I would." And here we are.
Okay. So I think poor impulse control, obviously, greed for power, obviously, and Dark Bargain, obviously.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Should we start picking moves?
Uh, do we
Or
need a name for this character first?
well, I don't know. It might come up
That's true. It might
after
come
you've
out.
done everything else. I mean, Maya came up with her name pretty early on from memory, but now I've got to shrink it again.
Pat, how very light Yagami of you, David. Oh, always. I'm making an angsty child becoming teen. Of course, they're going to have a little bit of light Yagami in there. They've accepted a dark bargain. Um.
All right.
So yeah. Ogi Ogi you. That is fun.
You guys come up with some good puns while we're doing the moves. So you get all the basic moves
You.
plus pick three of
You
the
is not a
spooky
bad name.
moves.
Okay. So yes. Let's go spooky first. Let's pick our moves and we'll come back to the name. Um. Telepathy lets me read minds. That's fun, but I do think the sight is going to make sense. Um.
Yeah.
But like yeah, I can like see the invisible. And in my case, that's also like see the manifestations of my
Mm,
cards. Like to everyone else, I am just playing cards on my little plastic dual disc on my arm. But like in my mind's eye,
mm.
the actual monster comes out of the card and presents itself on the field of battle.
Oh, yeah. So
So
you'd
I
be
think the sight
like
makes sense.
yelling and cheering and encouraging them on, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
Get him, blue eyes. And then like out of nowhere, somebody just flies across the room. Like um
Because the options are telepathy, where you can basically read people's thoughts and put words in their minds. You can use allowed to use investigate a mystery or read a bad situation with needing to actually talk. You can also manipulate someone without speaking. You will roll moves as normal, except people will not expect the weirdness of your mental communication. Hex, when you cast a spell with use magic as well as the normal effects, you may pick from the following. The target contracts a disease. That's weird. The target immediately suffers harm, which ignores armor and is magical. The target breaks something precious or important. We've got the sight, obviously. Premonitions, which is a start of the mystery thing, which could be handy. Hunches, when something bad is happening, you can roll and end up somewhere where you need to be, or, mixed success options, or you don't get there and get into trouble yourself. They've got the tune in one where you can attune your mind to a monster or minion, and you can ask some questions.
I do want the big whammy because
Yeah.
I need to be able to kick some ass with weird instead of tough. That is something I need for this character.
Yep. The attack has 2 harm, close, obvious, ignore armor. On a miss, you'll get a magical backlash. And then there's Jinx.
I think, yeah.
Dixon says maybe he's mute, so he uses telepathy. Amaryllis Flower says Hex would make sense. Maybe tune in. Premonitions is better for a long campaign. One use and a one shot isn't great. So for Jinx, you can do something to your target. You've got to roll for it, of course, but you could interfere with a hunter, giving them -1 forward. You can help a hunter, giving them +1 forward by interfering with the enemy. You can interfere with what a monster, a minion, or bystander is trying to do. You can inflict 1 harm on the target due to an accident because you've jinxed them, or the target loses something that you will soon find, which can be handy. Now, it's a question of would it be handy or would it be something this character either acquired through its dark bargain or really, really wanted and asked for? So what would the 13-year-old think? What would help them to get power?
I think that Jinx would be great. Dixon points out like they mess up their turn. I think it's like using crowd control like spells or traps in Yu-Gi-Oh! Jinx lets you control the movement on the battlefield by interfering with your opponents or helping an ally. I think Jinx could be really good for this character. But it kind of makes me think then if instead of the big whammy, we could go Hex and then we could deal damage with magic as casting a spell instead of needing to roll weird on tough. I don't know. What does chat feel about that? I could see either the big whammy or Hex for this character.
That would make them stronger magically if you went with Hex.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you need to break something. Or if you just want to, be a little shit and... Jinx is tactical, which rolls into the game aspect. That's from Dixon.
Yeah, I definitely think Jinx. I think Jinx is a definite. I think the sight is a definite. I think either Hex or Big Whammy. I'm honestly leaning back towards Hex now. Yeah, Hex is fun. Yep.
Should I put up a poll?
Oh, yeah. Hex or Whammy. Hex or Whammy.
You only get 1 vote each, peoples. Hex him or whammy him? Vote.
Got a Hex. Got a Hex out of the gate.
Mm-hmm. Dixon says because Hex can add to a normal magic damage roll. Yeah, it can. And if you want to use a different kind of magic other than hurting someone, you can then add on the hurting them as well. So 2 for the price of 1, baby.
It's really powerful. It's very
Oh,
strong.
I was going to say
Oh, they're
three
neck
to
and neck.
two. That must be good. And then they went neck and neck. And I'm
Three
like,
to
do we
three.
even have a tiebreaker person?
Yeah, I think now I think I'm leaning towards them being more magically oriented. Like playing the cards is a very magical thing.
Mm. And
I
it's
might
quite
I might
common in
actually
anime, isn't it? So, not just the card game
oh,
animes.
Gel says that Nyx is in the room with her and says Hex. So that does
Okay,
give us 4 for Hex.
Hex wins then.
So all right, Hex wins. Then we have Hex, the Sight, and Jinx.
Yeah. Should we pick some gear next? I don't know if we should give a
Yeah.
child these options, though.
Or let's do ratings next.
You want to do ratings? Okay.
Yeah.
You obviously need a big weird, but all the weirds are plus
They're all
two.
plus
So
2. I think I should take one of the ones with -1 tough because I think he's a scrawny little piece of shit. I don't
definitely.
think he should actually be in a fight.
Oh, totes.
Um,
So we've
so we've
got
got the
two
options there
options.
are we can either if we're gonna have +2 weird, that's all of them. If we're gonna have -1 tough, that gives us either a boost to sharp and charm that are equal, both +1, or a -1 to sharp and a +2 to charm. I don't think he's that charming. I think I'd probably go charm +1, sharp +1. I think you do the very first one, I would say.
Okay, so
I think that
one
sounds right.
zero one minus one plus two. One.
Yeah, so
One.
1 charm, cool 0, sharp 1, tough -1, weird +2.
Okay. Um, I don't know if these weapon options are good for would be allowed for a child, but obviously you would want cards as your gear. That's not an option. You
Yeah.
get two normal weapons and any magical items or amulets that you use to invoke your power. So obviously your deck of cards.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have my deck of cards, which will just, I guess, be an extra little bonus weapon.
Hmm.
And then big knife. Gotta love that big knife.
But everything else is a firearm.
Yeah. I I could see if I had to have another normal weapon, maybe like one of those tiny single shot derringers. A little 22.
Because being influenced by older generations.
Yeah.
We could always ask Johnny if you could get something else from one of the other gears, because I know there's like brass knuckles
Oh, that's
and
true. Yeah, we could revisit gear after
mm.
talking to Johnny. That'd be fine with me. As long as I have my cards, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. So I guess the main thing only left to do now is a name, guys. Guys, you got a name?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there was some chatter earlier. Did we settle on anything, chat? What do we got?
Well, from
Oh,
earlier.
Emma suggested a slingshot for a weapon. I do love a
Oh.
slingshot. That is so good. If we can give a slingshot like revolver stats or something.
Well, less than stats.
Well, yeah,
'Cause-
tags.
yeah. Because you can
We'll
also.
we'll ask Johnny. We'll see what he
Yeah,
thinks.
yeah. Non-lethal weapons from the mundane. Yeah, Sam Baxter is one name suggestion from your brother.
Sam Baxter. Sam Baxter's fun.
I think someone said Grayson earlier, and Rand McPherson and OGU and
Samuel
Rusty.
Baxter.
Rusty. Marilla says his father is James.
So it's James Baxter
Baxter.
and Andrew.
Why? I realize it's a mashup, but why?
I do really like Emma Moral Dilemma 363 had Grayson. I like that as a surname. Grayson is really powerful.
What if you called him Samuel James Baxter Sr.?
Oh, I do like being a senior, even though I am 13. That is hilarious. That's fantastic. Uh, I want to go the Grayson for the surname. I want that's my only hard rule. I like Grayson. I like senior. Um,
Obviously not Dick Grayson.
no, no, obviously.
We could go with Rick Grayson. Trick Grayson.
Oh, Trick is a good 13-year-old kid name, that's for sure. And also, like, tricks are a card game thing, not Yu-Gi-Oh specifically, but you
Mm-hmm.
can take tricks in spades, for instance.
Samuel James Grayson the Eighth.
Spade. Samuel Grayson is good. That's powerful. Sammy boy, Samuel Grayson.
Samuel Sammy Grayson.
Samuel, yeah, print Samuel air quotes Sammy Grayson.
You want air quotes? Okie dokie.
Yes. Is that the 54th? Is L 50? I don't remember. It's been too long.
I think it is. The Trick Grayson is legend tier. But tricks aren't for kids.
I do really like Trick. It could be Samuel is his given name, Trick is his nickname. So he could be Samuel Trick Grayson instead of Sammy.
Trick or tricks with an X, because, that's cool, right?
Hmm. I ooh.
Oh, I'm giving you
I
too
want to go
much.
Trick. I like
Trick?
I like I like
Yeah.
Trick myself. Trick.
Trick is short for Patrick.
It's true.
Mm.
Named after the best.
Mm-hmm. Is that it? Are we all done? We've done everything? So, Samuel Trick Grayson, the spooky, who has Hex, the Sight, and Jinx, has a big knife, a deck of magic cards, and probably a slingshot. He, him pronouns. Is he still 100 years old in a 13-year-old's body, or.
I think he's 13 with a consciousness that he's connected to that is contains legions of his ancestors.
Okay. Conscious and central consciousness. Okay.
Yes, he has an ancestral consciousness that
Yep.
has dark designs for his life.
Okay. Unblinking eyes. Sweater vest with a clip-on bow tie.
Somebody told him when he was young that maintaining eye contact is like a good way of establishing a connection with someone, and he takes it far too seriously.
Okay. And he's got a dark bag. Excuse me. Obviously, I need to hydrate.
I ran out of water a little while ago.
Oh
My
dear.
only recourse is to now dihydrate instead of hydrating.
So he's got the dark bargain, which he made with his ancestors because he's got a greed for power and wants to take over the world. They give him magic to help him do this. In return, he will become one of them. And he also has poor impulse control because he's still got the brain chemistry of a 13-year-old. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did it. Thank you, chat, for driving us in this direction. Um, Trick is going to be a troublemaker, but more importantly, he's going to be a excellent duelist. He's going to be a
Magical
legendary
duelist, yeah.
magical duelist. Yes.
Maya says Johnny is going to love this character. I love this character. And
Well,
Mildly
I'm glad.
also says, me too. And Dixon shares a heart.
Yeah, thank you, Riley, for the initial inception there, bringing us to Yu-Gi-Oh from our Benjamin Button roots.
Gosh, I wonder what they're going to come up with when we make my character.
Yeah, I do not know what the rest of this group is going to look like. I listened to part of the stream with Maya, but I intentionally didn't stick around to see how the character came about because I want to go in dark to when we're establishing our history questions. I want to meet these characters and then be like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Awesome. Well, also to let the people know who are following along in order to watch this upcoming one shot, Mr. Ray is unfortunately unable to join us, so we're seeking another player. As soon as we have that person confirmed, I will organise a time to talk with them, and we can create that character. And we'll also, of course, have to create my character. So maybe we'll do that at the end of one of the listen parties. But I think we should probably do mine last, because wouldn't that be more fun? Okay. So has anyone got any last minute comments or questions for David? And David, is there anything else you would like to say? What's upcoming on your podcast?
Yeah, so Pigsmoke finale is underway being edited right now. We just dropped episode 4 on Wednesday this week. Finale is going to come out in 2 weeks. It's going to be Piglet Day. All the youngins are invited to the university to come and check it out. And our professors are under strict orders from the dean to try to convince Brad Flanagan Jr. to come to their university, seeing as he is the son of the rival dean of Glory Staff College. Yeah, it's but also underpinning all of that is a lot of other really dumb side quests that this story has contained. The subplots are almost overtake the plot at many points in this one shot.
Yeah.
So there's a fulfilling end, I would say, to all of the stories, and yeah, it's really good. It'll be here in 2 weeks, so catch up on that arc if you're interested. And in the future, we're going to be playing the Between up next. We're going to be playing the Between El Paso, the Ghost of El Paso. So we're going to be going Wild West, monster hunting in the Wild West. It's going to be a good time. So stick around for that. And if you like Monster of the Week, if one reason you may come to Sero Does Stuff is that you're a fan of the excellent Monster of the Week podcast, Redgate and Wolf. And so if you like Monster of the Week, we did just finish a Monster of the Week game in space. That was a blast. So check that out if you're interested.
Yeah. We've had a few comments. One of them is from Amaryllis Flower. Hi. And what was it Dixon said? Can Samuel's big knife turn anything it cuts into cake?
Don't do that to Johnny. Don't do that to him. Maybe he thinks it does. I will cast a spell to try to make it happen. We'll see.
Yeah, you can always try. I mean, what kid doesn't want to eat cake? Oh, Brussels sprouts again. Let's cut them up into little tiny cupcakes.
Pat out here asking the real questions on stream. Why did we fight as kids? Pat is my brother, for reference, for those wondering. I don't know, man. We just kind of hated each other growing up, huh?
I mean, you were kids.
Yeah.
Put any number of kids in a room together and they're bound to.
Some of them are going to hate each other.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, Pat. Do you want to fight now? Like, you're downstairs right now. We can fight if that's what you want.
He comes running up the stairs. And we can't tell because you've got a background up, so we can't tell if he's behind you right now.
He is. Ah! No.
He sees.
Also, my room is dark right now, so.
Right.
Just bring it. Okay.
I think that's probably it for us. Everyone, thank you so much for coming and joining us, listening to us, providing questions, chatting.
Thank you for your help, chat.
Yeah, and thank you for helping another player build a character, especially one who doesn't have that much experience building characters. Oh no, our guest! Surprise cameo.
No, I said I was going to come down there.
I said he was going to come running up and do it behind you, and we wouldn't be able to see because you've got the custom background up there. But we did see him. Yeah. So everyone, check out Trials of the Apocalypse. Go do it. There's probably a PBTA game there that you will find interesting, and if not, they'll probably play it soon. Thank you to the new followers, and I guess it's time to now wave awkwardly at the screen at the screen while I hit bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye bye.
Okay,
Bye. Listen to our
bye.
podcast. See you next time. Bye.